Hello everyone. In this tutorial, we're going to learn how to add progress bars to our projects in Godot. So let's take a look at this basic setup I have here. I have a simple color rectangle. I have a label here and a button that says click me. Now, we've all seen progress bars before, and thankfully that is one of the node types that actually comes with Godot. So let me search on progress bar, and there's two types. There's the general purpose progress bar that comes with Godot. And then if you want to make one more visually unique, you will want to use a texture progress bar. For this demonstration, we're just going to use the general purpose one. So let's go ahead and add that to our scene. And we can resize this however we want and position it. I'm just going to slide it up one level here because I want things to kind of go in order. Now, let's look at some of the properties that we can set in the inspector panel. So with progress bar selected, I can say, what is the minimum value? Normally progress bars start at 0, but there may be cases when you want to do something else. And we can adjust the max value, and then what's the increment in which the progress bar increases or advances. And there's some other settings here that we can do, and we can also decide whether or not we want the percent label to be visible or not. So what we're going to do with this tutorial is simply make it so that this progress bar fills up as we click the button. And so let's go ahead and set the max value of the progress bar to be 10. So essentially, if we click the button 10 times, it's going to fill up. And now, importantly, we want to change the step value from this very small number up to something. We're going to go up in increments of 1 unit. So let's go ahead and work with that. Now let's jump over to our code. And what we're going to do is I want to get our label working. So let's go ahead and create a function called update label. And I'm going to use a format string here. So I'm going to say format string is going to be equal to, and let's say click, and let's pass in a placeholder as of something like that. And then let's do actual string is going to be equal to, we're going to pass in some variables here. So this is going to be equal to the format string. And then we need to pass in 2 variables here before these brackets. Now, we haven't created those variables, so let's go ahead and do that. So let's create one called current click, which is going to start at 0. And let's create another one called max number of clicks, which we'll set to 10. Whoops, little typo there. And now in our actual string, let's pass in those values. So current click, and then of course, max number of clicks. And then we want to communicate with our label, and we're going to set the text value to be equal to the actual string. And so what we want to do as soon as our program runs, we want to update that label, and we should see 0 out of 10. So let's see if this is actually working. Let me exit out of full screen mode for a minute. And if I run this, this will pop over, and good, we see our label is labeled up at the top. Now what we want to do, of course, is as we click this button, we want this progress bar to fill up. Now, first thing we're going to need, of course, is a signal to be attached to our button. So let's go ahead and do that. The pressed function, make sure you're selected main, and we have added that. Okay, very good. So what do we want to do when that button is pressed? Well, essentially all we need to do is update the value of the progress bar. And we can communicate with progress bar just by indicating $ progress bar. And we want to set the value to a specific number. And importantly, we are going to set it to current click. Now, another thing that we need to do in this, of course, is each time the user presses the button, we want the current click value to increment by 1. So we're going to say current click equals current click plus 1. And then we're going to set the progress bar to be equal to that. So let's see if that actually works. Now, if I click me, 1, 2, we're seeing that that is updating. visually in the progress bar. Of course, our label is not updating, so we need to remember to call update label because we want that to happen. And let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And click 10 of 10 is 100%, and our progress bar has increased. So it's really that easy. Now we could do something a little bit more sophisticated by saying if the current click count, if current click count is greater than our max number of clicks, then we're going to do something. And what do we want to do? Well, just for fun, we could set the value of current click back to 0. And this makes this kind of reusable. So let me save this and run it. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's full. Now, if I click again, it should go back to 0. Boom. Now, the general purpose progress bar is not very pretty. I'll admit that. If I come over to 2D mode and come over to the inspector panel, you can set some styles on this. You can change the background color, for example. You have to apply a new style box, and typically you'd want to do flat. And so it switches to this kind of gray color. You can change that, of course, if you wanted a red color. And if I save and run, it would look like this. And you can also change the foreground color by clicking that, although that seems to be a little bit buggy. You can also change the font color that you're using. Let's say you wanted this to be green for some reason. You could do that, and that's how you can style your progress bar. Progress bars don't have to be incremented using buttons. Of course, you could use timers. You can use lots of other interactions. You could do user movements with the keyboard. It really doesn't matter as long as you're tracking progress in some way, shape, or form. You can update a progress bar in the manner shown here. And that, my friends, is how you work with progress bars in Godot.